I don't know how I could come up with any better music than that.
It is
I try to come
jamming.
up with something new every year. That's going to be
Absolutely.
my production crew is going to have a hard time beating up on that one.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're here this afternoon. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Progressive Auto Sales Arena live from the concourse. Today's an important game. Well, they're all important games, but this is kind of extra special.
Extra special.
It's special for sure. Because the last two times we played Flint, they beat us 4-1, and then 4-3 in overtime, and that was one heck of a game as it was. So
so we can be optimistic.
Well, we can always be optimistic, but this is a tough team. This is a tough team to beat, and Flint there are no slouches.
No.
And currently we're tied right now with the same amount of points. So, what do you got to? What do you? I don't like to use the word predict here, but
I'm still reeling from the fact that we lost to Guelph in a shootout.
Right.
And I mean, they only had 6 points on the season.
Yeah, that was
and
definitely mind blowing.
Oh.
Well, we had a hard time at the first period. We were like, hey, this should be a good game, and then, wow, after the end of the first period, we were like, what just happened out there?
Well, and I think, you know what, so here's a couple of things about that I think I noticed, and I just sort of realized it after the fact. Number one, we got a lot of guys that are out.
Yeah, well,
or gone. Like, I mean, the list is huge, right?
Let's talk about that before you carry
Chandler,
on there. Like Grover's out, Hoover's out, Mast is out, Dillingham is still out.
Yeah,
Romeo's out, and Martone.
Yeah.
So there's some really significant players on this team.
And did you have Zach Felix on that list too?
No.
Felix was out.
No, he was maybe out then, but this is for today.
He's back. He's back in today. Well, that's at least a good sign, right? So because I think that does a couple of things. One, you're talking about some of the tougher end of our lineup, number one. And number two is it means we have to start juggling, right? I mean, we're bringing guys up from the
Legionnaires. Moving the lines
around. And we're bringing up guys from Junior B to fill in some gaps and stuff like that. And
that maybe haven't played with some of the other players yet as well. Right?
And probably not quite used to the speed of the OHL. You know, I mean, there is... definitely it's a level of hockey up from Junior B for sure. Between speed and strategy and skill sets and stuff like that. I mean, there is a bit of a gap, which is why we have that, right? So, I think that a lot of things came sort of against us in that Guelph game. Then we really sold the farm in the first, really early on in that game, and I think that that's also hard to come back from in some cases, right?
Yeah. Well, and not just in a physical manner, but in the mental mindset.
Sure, absolutely. Get yourself out of that losing mindset, right?
Got to bring your head back up a little bit, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And maybe that's not that I impose a win on the Sarnia Sting, but maybe that was something that, because they did tend to work a little extra harder in the next second and third period, of course, that we saw. So again, we know the team's capable of that, but maybe sometimes you need to get kicked a little just to go, whoa, wait a minute, maybe kind of a reality check or something, like, whoa, okay, we can't.
Well, not everybody can have a little Dave on their shoulder, whispering in my ear sweet nothings and stuff.
Right, shenanigans. Right. You don't have my voice in your head when you're down over there, do you?
No.
I'm usually looking for you over there getting ready for post-game press conference, and if things aren't well, I try to zoom in with my camera.
It's the little Dave with the horns on this shoulder that's...
That's the one that you don't want to listen to that guy.
Yeah, don't listen to that guy.
Well, Sarnia Sting are out there warming up, and, they got to be wondering, okay, obviously last time we were here, things didn't go well for us with the Flint Firebirds those last two times. I mean, the last time was a heck of a game. We did come back strong.
Sure we did.
Still, not, Flint taking over in overtime.
But we got to we got to get out of that. Let's come back, because the comeback mode is I mean, it's exhausting. I can only imagine how exhausting it is.
Well, you want to win every game, but the reality is that's not like nobody goes through a whole season and wins every game. So then what are we telling ourselves out there today? Again, we are tied with points right now, but we know that Flint beat us the last 2 times. They're a big team. They're a strong team.
They're an aggressive team.
I was going to say they typically come out the gate super aggressive, and then they hold on to that throughout. And they also know, I still find like there's always the rumors that go around the OHL. Last year it was kind of like if you can get the first 2 goals on the Sting, you should be good, right? And that held true many times here. And then
many times
this year. I think it's like if you can poke the Sting, we've been poked a few times, and that doesn't usually end up well for us.
Well, no, because then we got guys busting hands and stuff like that. So it's just not a good thing. But I think I mean I've said many times in the past. I think the way to beat an aggressive hockey team is one, you got to keep your head on straight. You got to keep your emotions in check, right, and not let that kind of leak out all over the place. And I really do believe, Dave, that finesse hockey is what it's going to take to beat an aggressive team. Let them be all aggressive and stuff like that.
What do you mean by finesse?
Well, I mean you got to be
nothing
fancy. Just make those passes. Make them clean. You got to want to get that puck on your stick.
Well,
and when you do have the puck on your stick, you're going to want to get a shot off in goal, or you're going to want to pass it up to someone who's in a position. You got to make something happen with it. Right.
And that passing has been an issue the last several games. It's either
been
being
bad,
passed to the skate or the passer.
Or even worse, behind them, behind the guy, right? So then you're stopping him up and he's got to come backwards to do something, and that ultimately turnovers, right? We have to stop with the turnovers, or start really kind of limiting those down a little bit.
And you've talked about the line changes many times in the past already this season.
Yeah.
Is that still something that concerns you, or have we improved on that?
No, I think it's still a major concern. At least it is for me in what I'm seeing, because there are moments where I'm like, well, hang on a minute, we're in perfect position, and we got a guy moving forward in a hurry and stuff, and I'm like, where's everybody else?
Yeah, we're not there.
And we've got this slow line change kind of happening, and I get, and then we get into the middle to the late stages of the third period, and they're making line changes every 20 seconds, and I'm like,
well, and I did ask the question a couple of post games ago, and it was I forget exactly who it was I was asking, but they did say, we think that's something we could work on for sure, right? So we'll see if that improves here today, because I think again, going back to, although these 2 teams are tied for points, I do want to say that coming out the gate, just based on what we've seen so far, Flint is likely the stronger team coming out in the first period here, based on what our first periods have been typically like, and just based on the last 2 times that we played Flint, right?
Sure.
So the Sting have to be thinking of that and being consciously aware of the fact that
absolutely
what happened last time that we need to correct. And I think the line changes are really key in this game today, simply because of the fact that you can't be going out there tired against Flint. You can't, if you're doing the 20-second, 30 seconds changing the line, our guys are going to be really tired, and I don't think that's something we can afford against Flint.
And you know what? I agree with you, Dave. I think we have to clean up that shift change piece to the point where our guys that are coming off the ice get off in a hurry, and the new guys get on, and they do it at a time when it's most relevant or appropriate for the play that they're in the middle of.
Right.
And I get that that's lining up a lot of moving parts to make that happen properly, but somewhere along the line, there are a lot of teams doing it better than we are right now, and it can make a difference when you're talking about a 1-goal game or whatever, just the slightest tweaks can make all the difference in
Absolutely.
the world. You get somebody coming on that allows the play to continue forward, and they've got fresh legs and stuff, and we take it to the net. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a great moment. Those are good moments. We need to be using our line change to make more of those happen.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to beat a dead horse. However,
Yes.
we got to talk about the defense for this Sarnia Sting. There's still some holes there. I think last game, Guelph, I think, was an example of how we were lacking in our defense.
Well,
how do we get that tightened up out there?
Well, that's a good question because, I got a lot of questions around the defense, because, we finally got it to the point where I thought we had some defensive pairings that were going to do the job and that those defensemen were doing the task that they're assigned.
Yeah.
Right? So I really thought we were getting into a happy place around that. But the game against Guelph was just sloppy. We were letting Guelph guys blow past us, at a furious rate.
Yeah.
And I just, you got to stop them, whether that's playing the puck instead of the man or vice versa, depending on the play and where you're at. But, somewhere along the line, the defense needs to – and I think – the other part is that I think we're also burning through a bunch of defense because there are some of our defensive players that are playing just a ridiculous amount of minutes.
And they're tired.
And they're tired.
You can only do so much.
And,
well, you mentioned
we got to have somebody. When you see them getting sloppy, you need to be able to get them off and get somebody on there that can do the job.
Well, this is something we also talked about before, too, about and you mentioned it, and I saw it, and then I actually talked to, some friends who I know a ton about hockey, and I said, my friend Jay Peckham said, you ever play soccer, you just throw the ball out there, and they're all kids, and then everybody all at once goes after, and I couldn't even finish giving the scenario, and they were like, yeah, that totally happened out there, right? And why does that, I can see one or two players not being where they're supposed to be as far as position goes. But then when you've got 5, I would think one of those players looks around and goes, what are you doing here?
Well, and that's, we talk about, having that hockey sense, right? Being able to see the whole ice in front of you and knowing where your guys are so that you can make something happen. I think that's something that we're a little weak on. Certainly we do have some guys, that are certainly a lot better at it. I'm thinking like Ty Voigt and
well, let's lean
anyway,
it. Well, maybe that's a segue into. Let's keep our eye on Sandusville Manis up there.
He's another guy.
He's strong with the points right now, not just on this team, but in the OHL. And this is really his first year, and he's been showing up a lot already.
Yep.
And I think that's somebody that, I was going to say earlier, who are we relying on out there as players? Vilmanis is definitely one. Ty Voigt,
for sure,
another one. We've seen him show up a lot. I think the last couple of games, maybe not as much as we would have liked him to be.
Yep.
But not necessarily to his fault. I think he was there and where he needed to be. It just wasn't being sent to him.
The passes weren't happening the way it should have been. But, you can see that he's got that ice sense. I think Maxi's pretty good in that respect as well. And he's got the speed to get to where he needs to be, which is great. And I think defensively, I look at players like Davio and Davies, he's doing a great job.
I know he's one of your favorites out there right now.
He is, absolutely, But, again, he's another one of those guys with some good hockey sense to him. He can see the ice for what it is and make plays accordingly. So I think, he's a guy that we should be looking to in terms of running that defense kind of thing on the ice.
All right. Well, always something to be said about your Sarnia Sting, especially when Jay Peckham hanging around. But I think there's a lot of good points there today, and we'll see what comes out in the first period. Of course, we'll be back at the end of the first period to talk to you more about updates. Just a reminder about the Kubota Community Hero that the Sarnia Sting are supporting. You can nominate somebody. I think it's running out of time to nominate somebody. You go to kubota.ca/community hero online and nominate someone in your community, and the winner will get $25,000 to go towards a charity of their choice. Just another example
amazing.
of community support. That is hugely amazing.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
go online, check that out, and don't forget post-game press conference. Stick around for that at the end of the game today, and hopefully with some positive things to talk about at the end of this first period coming up here in just a few moments. With the Sarnia Sting, I'm David Burrows, live from the concourse with my friend Jay Peckham.
Go Sting, go!